Hello everyone, this is Miss Turner, and what I'm going to do today is talk to you about ratios, proportions, and scale drawings. So we are going to use or represent mathematical and real-world problems involving ratios and rates using ratios, proportions, and scale factors today. Okay, so the first thing, whenever we're talking about ratios, remember a ratio is a comparison, and you can write a ratio in the form of a fraction. So I'm going to start over here. Do these ratios form a proportion? It's a yes or no question. So what I'm going to do is write it the way we normally see it, with an equation bar or equation symbol in the middle. Then I'm going to ask myself, do I see a relationship between these numbers? Do I see a relationship from 1 to 3? Is there any number times 1 I can get to 3? Yes, because any number times 1 is itself, so that means 1 times 3 is 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. And 2 times 3 is 6. So this, yes, does form a proportion, because a proportion says two ratios are equal to themselves. Another word for equal is equivalent. Another word for equivalent is same. These fractions or ratios are the same thing. They represent the same amount. Okay, let's look at the second one. Do the ratios 4/7 and half form a proportion? Well, if you know half, you might already be saying to yourself, no. But let's see. 1 times any number is that number, so 1 times 4 is 4. And 2 times 4, 2 times 4 is not 7. 2 times 4 is 8. So no, this does not form a proportion because they are not equal to each other. Okay? Now here I'm going to be solving proportions. It's exactly what we just did, and I'm looking for the relationship. Now, there are different ways you can find the relationship. You can find the relationship between going from one ratio to another, or you can find a relationship within, staying in one ratio and finding that relationship. So I'm going to show you both. So on this problem, it says solve the proportion. B over 6 equals 8 over 2. B equals blank. We are trying to solve for B. B is our question mark. We want to know what is that numerator. So what I'm going to do first is look at my relationships. I see that all of these numbers are even, so 2 can be multiplied by some number to get me to 6 and 8. So I'm going to look at within. This is called finding the relationship within. I know, because I know my multiplication tables, I know that 2 times 4 is 8, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. It's just like whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So then I'm going to do 6 times 24. So then I'm going to do 6 times 4, and 6 times 4 is 24, so B equals 24. Okay, so I said I'm going to show you the other way. So I have question mark over 6 equals 8 over 2. What if I saw this relationship? 2 times 3 is 6. Well, do the same thing to the top. 8 times 3 is 24. I still get the same answer. So this one says solve the proportion 11 over u equals 77 over 56. Now what I know a lot of you are going to want to jump to do, oh, I know 11 times 7 is 77. Alright, that is good. But hold the brakes. Because can we do u times 7? Do we know what u is? No, we don't. So we cannot use that relationship. But because you know what it is with multiplication, That also means you know what it is with division, because division is just the opposite or the inverse of multiplying. So 77 to 11, I'm getting smaller, I'm dividing. I know that 11 times 7 is 77, so my question is 77 divided by what number equals 11? Well, that number is 7. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. I'll divide by 7. So I'll say 56 divided by 7. Well, if I go back and I look at my so I'm going to look at my 7s in my multiplication chart, and I need to find some number times 7 that's going to get me to 56. So I'm going to find 56 in my products. Found 56 in my products, 7 times 8. So then I'm going to go back to my question. 56 divided by some number equals 7. Well, we know that 7 times 8 equals 56, so that some number, our u, is going to be 8. Okay, now here's where it's going to get a little bit tricky because you have to read. A lot of you do not like to read, you just like to guess. Read the questions, please. So my first one says, Norma drew a scale drawing of the auditorium. In real life, the stage is 56 feet long. It is 8 inches long in the drawing. What is the scale of the drawing? So it's asking us, what are the inches to feet? So in the drawing, it's 56 feet long, but on the scale, it's only 8 inches. So we're asking, how do they know to draw it within 8 inches? What scale did they use? So the scale is the relationship. I know that 1 times any number, oopsies, the scale is the relationship. So 8, or any number divided by itself, is always 1. So for this problem, I'm going to do 8 divided by 8. And 8 divided by 8 is 1. So whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I'm going to do 56 divided by 8. Oh, we just did this problem. I know that 7 times 8 is 56. So I know that 56 divided by 8 is 7. So for every 1 inch on the drawing, it is actually 7 feet long in real life. Okay, my second problem. Rebecca drew a scale drawing of a house and its lot. So she was at this house, she saw it, she wanted to draw a picture, so she drew it to scale. The scale of the drawing was 1 inch to 6 feet. The deck is 14 feet long in real life. How long is the deck in the drawing? So I'm going to take this first ratio, because look, it even has a colon, it tells me that it's a ratio, and I'm going to write it as a fraction. 1 inch over 6 feet. The next bit of information tells me it's 6 feet long in real life. So that is, I'm going to match it with the item I see, which is denominator. So I'm going to put 48 feet as the denominator. It's asking us, what is the inches? Then again, as normal, I'm going to find my relationship. Again, you can do this within, or you can do this between. I'm going to do this within because I know 6 divided by any number is 1. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. So I'm going to do 48 divided by 6. If I don't know my division, I can go to my multiplication table, look at my 6's. What number times 6 is going to get me to 48? So I'm going to look for 48 in the products, and it tells me 6 times 8 is 48. So that means 48 divided by 6 has to be 8. So the deck in the drawing is 48 feet long in real life, but only 8 inches in the drawing. Okay, I'm going to go over a couple more of these questions because I know that they're a little bit more trickier. So number 3 says, Helen drew a scale drawing of a house in its lot. Oh. The scale she used was 3 inches to 3 feet. The scale she used was 1 inch to 3 feet. The backyard is 45 feet wide in real life. How wide is the yard in the drawing? So again, I'm going to take this first ratio and I'm going to set it up as a fraction. So I'm going to say 1 over 3. And I'm going to set up another ratio. 3 represents feet, 1 represents inches. My second bit of information tells me 45 feet, so I'm going to put that at the corresponding spot. I'm trying to figure out the numerator. I know that any number divided by itself is 1. This time I don't have my multiplication chart because this number is larger than 12, so I'm going to have to do my own division. 45 divided by 3. I know my 5s. 5 times 3 is 15. So x, or the question mark, is 15. It is 15 inches. Now if you didn't want to do the within relationship, you could have done the between. The between would have looked like this. 3 times some number is 45. Here I would have had to do dividing again because I don't know my factor or my relationship, my scale factor off the top of my head. We found out that was 15, so I'm going to do 1 times 15, and 1 times 15 is again 15. So the scale drawing of the backyard is 15 inches, but 45 feet wide in real life. And then my very last problem. Valentina drew a scale drawing of a house. She used to scale 2 millimeters to 1 meter. In the drawing, the living room is 8 millimeters wide. What is the width of the actual living room? So now we're going from drawing to actual. Again, I'm going to take my first ratio that it gave me, 2 millimeters to 1 meter. So 2 millimeters, mm stands for millimeters, to 1 meter, that's meter, 1 m is meter, equals, I'm trying to figure out how many meters. But the second bit of information told me that it was 8 millimeters wide. So I know any number divided by itself is always 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 meters. Or you could have said, well, I know that 2 times 4 is 8, and 1 times 4 is 4. If you have any questions over any of these questions I went over, please send me a message on Schoology. If you have not used IXL before, you need to click on the PDF file that says IXL ID cards and find your name. The names are listed in alphabetical order by your first name. There are many pages, so you will have to scroll through. If you need help logging in, please send me a message. Today's assignments are to work in IXL and receive a 70 or above in each skill. Don't worry, I will type this all out and have it written out for you on a Schoology page. Like I said, if you have any questions, just shoot me a message on Schoology. I hope you have a great rest of your day.